Hey guys, I just spent 30 bucks getting these things from DJI. That's 10 bucks for 2 props, 10 bucks for 2 more props, and $10 shipping and handling. You gotta have somebody at the door. Wonderful. So, question is it worth it? We're gonna find out. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna do 2 things. First of all, we're gonna measure the sound. We're gonna see, do these really live up to the claim of 4 dB noise reduction, or 60%. We're going to do some math and see if that claim actually makes any sense in the first place. Next up, we're going to do something that nobody else is doing. We're going to measure the thrust. So, on the thrustometer 1000 here, we put the phantom down at that end. It pulls up, which pushes down at this end, registering on a scale and seeing how much force the phantom is pulling up with. Everybody loves a good thrust test, okay? And the question is, does it generate more with the new props? We're gonna find out. With those 2 bits of information, we're gonna help you understand and make the decision for yourself if these props make sense for you. We'll be right back. All right, so let's take a closer look at these props. They are the same length, however, they do have a bit of a fatter appearance to them, more surface area. What could that do for us? That could give us some more drag, actually. Could also give us more lift. So my guess is these things actually pull a little more torque out of the motors and maybe spin a little bit slower in order to generate the same amount of thrust. That you may get a little quietness out of that alone. But certainly they have this funny little tip on them, which is maybe helping to reduce some of the high frequency vortices and what have yous that come off the tips of the props. So that's probably how they work. What do I think DJI did here? I think they spent a lot of time developing these, actually. We've been wondering, what are they waiting for? They have those props, the new one that came with the Mavic Pro Platinum. We tested those as well. They did have an improvement, more so than these actually. And so we're wondering what they're waiting for. My guess is they were waiting for an actual improvement and they weren't able to eke much out. They aren't claiming more flight time with these new props. All they're claiming is 4 dB noise reduction when measured within 1 meter indoors. Okay, so that's kind of a weird specification. Are you really spending a lot of time flying with your head within 1 meter of the Phantom 4? Okay, so let's do a little math. They claim 4 dBs noise reduction, which is the same they claim as 60% reduction in noise. So let's do some math here. Let's see, 20 log, carry the 1, and nope. That doesn't really actually make sense unless you're talking about sound intensity, which is a power or energy metric, which nobody really talks about that. They're talking typically about SPL, or perceived sound. Now it takes 10 dBs SPL to get a reduction in perceived sound of about half as loud. Now they're claiming 60% with 4 dBs. So does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. Is that false or deceptive advertising to basically mix units like that? Okay, so that's enough about sound pressure level and dB in terms of what they're claiming. Let's actually measure it and see how it sounds. We took the Phantom 4 outside and set it up flying over the Spark as a reference point so we could get it in the same spot with both sets of props. So we got it flying there. Let's give it a quick listen with the original props. Okay, now let's give it a listen with the new props. Did you notice a difference? Maybe a little bit there. Maybe a little bit less of that high-pitched stuff. Let's take these props inside now. We're going to set up the drone on the thrust tester, and we're going to get another sound measurement there. This time, instead of the hover position, we're going to get it at max thrust, full throttle. Let's see how it does there. So first up again, we're going with the original props. We got it all set up here. We got thrust going there on the screen, and we're also showing the SPL. Let's fire it up. Okay, so that's pretty exhilarating to see that first person. You guys may not get quite the same sensation, but this time measured inside with all kinds of reflections off the walls and all that. We're picking up 120 dB A-weighted SPL, and you can see all these little peaky things indicating the peaks and really what's generating all that noise. You can see quite a distribution. It certainly isn't one frequency that we're generating there. So let's do a switch out now, and we'll switch over to the new props. Okay, with these new props, we peaked out at just 119 dB. That's 1 dB improvement measured from a fairly close distance. Didn't move the drone, didn't move the phone. Is that noticeable? Not so much. It's loud as heck down here when we fire this thing up full blast. So at the end of the day, what do I say about the loudness? I would say in a more realistic situation, in a hover, they are a little bit quieter. I would not call it a 60% reduction personally. But let's take a look at the thrust numbers. So we did pick up some extra thrust with these new props, which is interesting. We got a whopping 1.6% increase in thrust. Now, is that much to write home about? Well, hold off. Remember, these props are a little bit heavier. So you take that into account, you only get 1.3% thrust to weight ratio improvement. And that's going to be what drives your maneuverability, how fast you can fly, how fast you can accelerate, those kinds of things. So is that really noteworthy, 1%? Is that something you're going to notice? No, it's not. Barely any more thrust, a little bit quieter. Are these props worth it? You need to decide for yourself. If you need the latest and greatest, or you just think these look cool or look funny or look like a mustache, go ahead and pick them up. And if you do buy from clicking in the link below, that helps us out. Maybe we'll make a buck. Helps us keep motivated, keep making these videos. If you like it, please subscribe. Please give us a thumbs up. And check us out at halfchrome.com for more info on these props and a whole heck of a lot of other things. And we'll see you next time.